KGW News at 11, a weather impact alert as severe floods trigger evacuations and rescues, including a family of 6 trapped in the raging waters.
And in Yamhill County, a man is dead after driving around a road closure and into a flood.
Also ahead, for the first time, we're hearing from a Lincoln County couple who escaped their home as a massive landslide carried their livelihoods away.
I never thought I'd take a house down that quick, and I mean quick.
Why they say they never should have been forced to make a run for it. Good evening, everyone. David Molka with you on this Friday. We begin tonight with that deadly tragedy in Yamhill County after authorities say a driver went around signs indicating the road was closed, then was swept away in high water. This was in Sheridan this morning, not far from where Southwest Dejong Road crosses the South Yamhill River. Our team coverage tonight, beginning with Catherine Cook.
About a quarter mile beyond these signs, this road turns into what looks like a raging river, a powerful and now deadly flood. Authorities are begging people to heed these signs here and anywhere they put them up. Nightfall after a sobering day in Yamhill County. Road closure signs halted drivers in several spots after floodwater jumped the banks of the South Yamhill River. In Sheridan, these signs warned away drivers on DeYoung Road. But Friday morning, authorities say one man drove around them and into danger.
I mean, it's just a tragedy all the way around.
Yamhill County Sheriff Sam Elliott says the 52-year-old man from Amity drove through this fast-moving water and died. We ask for permission to show you a closer view of how powerful the water still is. Witnesses say the man's car drifted away in this. At one point, he got out, only to disappear in the water and drown.
I'll just re-encourage folks in the community to be trustful of the signs that have been posted. Encourage people not to go past the road closure or high water signs for their safety.
It floods every year. It's just how bad.
Robert Wilson lives next to the closure. He says every year this area floods at different places and depths along the road, making it even more unpredictable and dangerous.
By the time the water's going over these roads, it's moving. It's not like you're just in a lake with a puddle.
Sheriff's officials say a water rescue team from the Salem Fire Department and a Yamhill County resident with swift water training recovered the victim's body. Officials are heartbroken and hope others will always recognize and obey these signs whenever and wherever they're up.
The water is still completely over the road down here to the north, and the road is still closed.
In Sheridan, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Well, meanwhile, Clackamas County, it appears, suffered the brunt of much of the flooding with hundreds of evacuations and rescues with ropes and rafts. The good news tonight, the waters there are also receding with the vast majority of people finally able to return home. Team coverage continues with Alma McCarty.
Early Friday, the Clackamas River spilled over its banks. Water first overtaking backyards, then seeping and flowing into homes.
So this is booming. I've never seen it this high in all the time I've had it.
Across the county, some 300 people were forced to flee their homes. And in this drone video shared by the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, rushing waters from the nearby Malala River surrounded a pickup truck with a family including 4 children inside. Rescue teams using ropes and a raft to pull them all to safety.
It's hard to believe that the water would come up that much.
Larry Krause, who lives in Paradise Park, that's between Eagle Creek and Estacada on the Clackamas, considered staying in his cabin overnight, but eventually made the call to go.
We said, that's it, just let's button her up and get the hell out of here. But I think it's about a foot, probably between a foot and a half.
And just downstream in Carver, those living near the raging river came face to face with the surge.
Dealt with typhoons in the Philippines. A lot of water with that, but not quite like this.
When the river crested, the water levels were past many of these homes. Hours later, levels, as you can see, have gone down significantly, and many people who evacuated earlier are back in their homes. Elijah Osborne evacuated after midnight and says the water thankfully didn't make it to his property.
No. I mean, we got this pool in the middle of the road, but that's about it.
Forecasters say the flood watch for this section of the Clackamas should be over by Saturday afternoon, with residents saying they feel grateful for a break in the weather.
As long as it doesn't start raining, I think we'll be okay.
In Clackamas County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Still got a smile on his face. Okay, we want to show you another view of the Clackamas from earlier today, which was transformed into raging whitewater near Gladstone. Our team saw trees, logs, tires, even an entire dumpster being swept downstream in the swollen current. Things have since calmed down. The National Weather Service reporting the river has dropped roughly 10 feet since it peaked early this morning. Well, let's bring in Celine Stevens now. Celine, it's looking like the worst of the rain is behind us, but of course there's still lingering concern about that flooding.
David, you got it right. Yeah, we're not going to be seeing that heavy rain that we saw yesterday at all, at least through the weekend or even into next week. It's just going to be the scattered showers that we saw today, but of course that risk of flooding continues. Right now, looking at current temperatures, 43 degrees, winds going at 10 miles per hour, and looking at our radar, we're just continuing to see those scattered showers push through our region. Portland seeing some of that activity around 9 o'clock. Again, this will be on and off throughout the evening and again into the weekend as well. As you can see, yesterday we had a lot of yellow and orange on the map. Today, we're really just seeing that light rainfall, which is a good thing given everything that a lot of communities have been through over the last few days. Looking at our warnings, we're still under that flood watch until tomorrow, so that's something that we're tracking. Again, all because the rain stops doesn't mean the potential for flooding goes away. We've seen so much rain over the last week and a half, so that's something to still monitor. We're also seeing a winter storm warning for the eastern slopes of the Oregon Cascades and a winter weather advisory as well for areas like Mount Hood. We could see around 3 inches of snow on the passes this evening, so expect winter weather conditions if you are driving along there tonight or tomorrow. Current temperatures 43 here at home, 44 in Troutdale and in Vancouver. Along the coast, we're seeing low to mid 40s, and temperatures today a lot cooler than what we were seeing yesterday. 7 degrees cooler in Portland right now than yesterday, 9 in Scappoose, 6 in Vancouver. Other areas trending cool too, and that's the theme of the weekend. Showers and cooler temperatures. We'll talk more in a little bit.
Hey, showers way better than an atmospheric river. Appreciate it, Celine. On the coast, the Tillamook School District canceled classes not only because of the flooded roads, but classrooms. The district says South Prairie Elementary filled up with a couple inches of water coming into the building on 3 sides after a creek overflowed. Around 100 volunteers showed up to get furniture, books, and everything else off the ground. You know, and speaking of the coast, Highway 6, which connects 26 with Tillamook, has partially reopened now with 1 lane of traffic squeezing through an area that includes a landslide and sunken grade. This is 10 miles west of Glenwood between mileposts 29 and 42. Even so, ODOT says to expect long delays there and to use an alternate if possible.
And the floor was bouncing, and all of a sudden I seen the walls crack apart, and I go, Sharon, we got to go.
Well, for the first time, we are hearing from survivors in Lincoln County who escaped a massive landslide near Siletz, one that blocked nearly a quarter mile of highway and took their home and livelihoods with it. Investigative reporter Kyle Laboshi has their story.
December 12th, the earth moved. A massive hillside collapsed. The thunderous wall of trees and mud swept over Highway 229 north of Siletz, wiping out everything in its path.
I never thought I'd take a house down that quick, and I mean quick.
Bob McIver and his wife Sharon,
but yeah, it's scary. That's the worst thing I've ever been through in my life.
Could hear the sounds of disaster in the early morning hours. First a boom from a blown electrical transformer, then the cracking sound of trees snapping.
I tell you, being in that house, that is the scariest thing. I'll never get that
yeah.
out of my mind, never.
The couple moved from room to room to avoid falling branches. Then the entire home shook.
And the floor was bouncing, and all of a sudden I seen the walls crack apart, and I go, Sharon, we got to go.
They escaped into darkness, crawling through mud and fallen trees toward safety. Behind them, their home had disappeared, along with everything inside.
All the furniture, everything's just gone.
The massive slide was likely triggered by back-to-back rainstorms, but neighbors say the owner of the hillside above them, Weyerhaeuser, knew there was a risk. Weyerhaeuser said that it learned about movement from a slide last summer and visited neighbors about a month ago to ask them to report muddy runoff or debris on the road.
In my opinion, I think if they had concern to come down or tell us, they should have evacuated right there.
A Weyerhaeuser spokesperson responded, "We wouldn't have the authority to issue an evacuation, and there was no information to suggest this slide was imminent. The area is now off limits. It's too unstable, and road crews aren't sure how long it will take to clean up."
they have nothing.
Neighbor Joe Jenks, whose home was also damaged, is helping Bob and Sharon navigate the unthinkable because they have nothing. No driver's license, no ID,
And seeing
no
that
credit cards.
hopeless feeling on their faces. I just knew that I was going to do everything in my power to help them through this.
Bob and Sharon admit the silver lining comes from the kindness of others. They're staying in a hotel along with their dog. It may not be home, but it's safe after the slide that washed away almost everything.
Galaboshi reporting there. On top of rebuilding their lives, Bob and Sharon say they face a new challenge: insurance, which typically does not cover mudslides, which coverage that does exist, separate, expensive, and hard to get.